Okay, moving on to scene two. Once you've read that, then you can go ahead and come back and watch the analysis. So in this scene, we have Count Paris. He's a young nobleman, so he is not a Capulet or a Montague, and he is going to be asking Capulet to marry his daughter, Juliet. So at this time period, it was very common that you didn't marry for love. Your marriage was arranged, especially if you were nobility. So if there was a young man who wanted to marry a girl, he would go to her father, they would arrange it, and the girl didn't really have a lot of say in it. Capulet says that Juliet's too young, but gives Paris permission to court her and try to win her heart, and he invites Paris to a party he's giving that night. So at the beginning of this scene, Paris is asking Capulet, "Can I marry Juliet?" That's what he says here in line 6. "What say you to my suit?" And Capulet says, "My child is yet a stranger in the world. She hath not seen the change of 14 years." So if she has not yet turned 14, that means that she is 13 years old. Now, of course, that sounds crazy to us, right? That she's 13 and they're talking about getting married. However, this was fairly common in this time period. So we're looking at the 1300s, the 1400s, and this was not an unusual or a particularly young age for a girl to get married. So even though that seems very, very strange to us, it was a very different time period. People didn't live as long, and there just wasn't the same kind of social standards that we have today. So Capulet says, let's wait 2 more summers before you can marry her. Okay. Capulet again says, woo her, basically saying, try to win her over first. And then he invites him to this party and basically says, there's going to be lots of beautiful girls at this party tonight. So perhaps after you see all of these other pretty girls, maybe you won't be as interested in Juliet. Then he hands his servant a paper, tells him to go and invite all of the people whose names are on the sheet. Now, the problem with this is that the servant cannot read. Okay, so that's what the servant is talking about here, is that he does not know how to read, and so he has to go find someone who can read, who is able to read the list of people to invite so he can go and do his job. And he, of course, comes across Benvolio and Romeo. Now, we know that the Capulets and the Montagues hate each other, okay? So, a Montague would not really be on the invite list here. So this could potentially create some problems. Okay. So they run into the servant. Romeo reads the list for the servant. Okay. And the servant basically says, "My master is a Capulet, and as long as you aren't a Montague, then you should come and enjoy the party." So Benvolio and Romeo have basically now found out about this party, and Benvolio is going to say that they should crash the party, essentially. Okay, here in line 82, he says, "At Capulet's party is Rosaline, and this is the girl that Romeo is in love with." So he says, "Rosaline will be there, and you can compare her to the other girls that are there, and you'll see that she is not that pretty. She's not that great, and you'll get over her." Okay. Romeo says, "Absolutely not. There's no way." He says, "The all-seeing sun has never seen her match since first the world begun." So he says here that there is, in the whole history of the world, never been anyone as beautiful as Rosaline. So this we should recognize as hyperbole because he's exaggerating. Okay, he has not seen every girl in the entire world before. So how could he possibly say that Rosaline is the most beautiful? Okay, so he is exaggerating here. Again, this goes with what we know about his character. He's dramatic, he's emotional. Okay. Benvolio again says, "Let me compare her to some others, and you'll see she's not that great." Okay, we have some alliteration here with the repetition of all of these S sounds. Okay, show, shining, she, shall, scant, show. And Romeo agrees to go along, but he does not believe Benvolio that anyone will be as beautiful as Rosaline. He basically says, "I'll agree to go, but just to look at Rosaline."